I was Julian Vance's doormat, but I was the only one who knew the price tag. I wasn't his shadow, I was his handler. His paid for accessory. He skipped class to sleep, so I covered for him. He chased the new girl, and I had to handhold the entire pathetic operation. I delivered his love letters. When high school graduation hit, the new girl went off to an Ivy League. I followed Julian to a private university in Europe. In a foreign land, far from the Vance family's prying eyes, I finally executed my mission and climbed into his bed. I got exactly what I wanted, a taste of his toxic wealth and the fleeting feeling of power that came with it. I was finally full. Until she came back. Julian stayed out all night with her again. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I just exhaled. I was ready to go home. I had a career waiting for me. The Vance family had paid for my degree and my life. I couldn't just dump their son without a catastrophic, media-proof reason. To secure my future, I needed him to be the one who cut the wire. Chapter 1. The Vance family was a dynasty, ruling our social circle with an iron fist wrapped in silk. They were the definition of old money. Julian was the prince, the trust fund baby. I'd been tagging along behind him since we were in diapers. He was pure, gorgeous chaos wrapped in designer linen, a trust fund baby with the dangerous face of a fallen angel. He was the perfect addiction, but I needed to detox. If his family hadn't threatened to disown him, modeling scouts would have snatched him up years ago. I could eat cardboard while looking at Julian's face, and it would taste like a Michelin star meal. Plus, the closer I was to Julian, the better my parents treated me. As we grew up, lines were drawn. Girls stopped hanging out with the boys. But not me. I stuck to Julian like glue. I was shameless, but I was also brilliant. By high school, Julian had grown into a lethal weapon. Sharp jawline, brooding eyes, that I don't care attitude that drove girls crazy. And me? I became known as his loyal dog, but dogs bite. They mocked me, they looked down on me, but they were idiots. Julian didn't love me, but his family valued me more than him. My parents got business contracts. I got into a prep school filled with Nepo babies. Chapter 2. Prep school wasn't boring. For these kids, their futures were already paved with gold bricks. All roads led to Rome, and if the road was blocked, their daddies would build a new one. My road was different. My family could keep me fed and dressed, but I was just there to make sure I didn't embarrass them. I was their insurance policy. So, I held on to Julian tighter. He skipped, I lied to the teachers. He slept, I did his homework. When he got obsessed with the transfer student, I was the one stalking her socials for intel. Amelia Rose, the scholarship kid, the diversity hire with the innocent eyes and the stubborn chin. Countless girls had thrown themselves at Julian. Models, actresses, daughters of senators. They all failed. I honestly started to wonder if Julian was into guys. But the moment Amelia walked onto that stage to introduce herself, something clicked in his brain. He was clueless. He spent 3 months chasing her like a clumsy, spoiled puppy. I outlasted every other leech and sycophant in his orbit simply by making myself indispensable. Oh, side note, the guys in his circle didn't call themselves doormats. They called themselves his brothers. Funny how when I did it, it was pathetic. When they did it, it was friendship. I bought Amelia breakfast. I partnered with her in tennis. She looked at me with those big, grateful doe eyes. She trusted me. That's when I struck. I handed her the love letter Julian wrote. Amelia froze. She looked at me in disbelief. I leaned in, whispering like a conspirator. Julian wrote it. He's obsessed with you, but he's too shy to say it to your face. Predictably, Amelia crumpled the letter and tossed it into the trash can like it was radioactive waste. When Julian tried to talk to her later, she called him a useless Nepo baby to his face. Amelia never spoke to me again. I didn't care. I was too busy comforting a heartbroken Julian. He'd never been rejected in his life. He drank until he couldn't stand. Drunk and messy, he grabbed my face, asking over and over, why doesn't she like me? I smoothed his hair back. She has no taste, Julian. I like you. I lied. Or maybe, for a second, the lie felt like the truth. I saw a flicker of clarity in his hazy eyes. Chapter 3. After Amelia rejected him, Julian spiraled. He started changing girlfriends like he changed his designer socks. What a week. Maybe a month if the girl was lucky. But his eyes? They were always scanning the crowd for Amelia. Then came graduation. Amelia got into her dream Ivy League school. Julian chose to go abroad. When I went to the Vance estate to deliver my mom's homemade pastries, Catherine, Julian's mother, stopped me. Where are you planning to go, Scarlett? She asked, her voice silky but cold. I feigned indifference. Depends on my scores. You know I'm not the academic type. I was top of my class, but I spent high school playing Julian's executive assistant. When he had a fever, I called the family doctor. When he snuck out to party in Vegas, I was the one updating the family secretary so they wouldn't worry. Catherine looked at me, calculating. That summer was an agonizing waiting game. Everyone else was waiting for acceptance letters. I was waiting for the queen to summon me. Finally, on a quiet summer night, the call came. Catherine invited my family for dinner. I remember the cool breeze, the sound of crickets. She didn't know that my parents had cut off my allowance and grounded me for weeks, terrified I'd messed up, but I gambled, and I won. My future was tied to Julian Vance. The brighter his future, the more I would shine. A month later, we left the country. At the airport, Julian's brothers looked at me with pure venom. Scarlett, you enjoy being a parasite? Or are you aiming to be a viper? One sneered. You're going to spend your whole life latching onto Julian. You and your kids, just feeding off him. It's funny. Men get just as catty as women when they realize they've been replaced. Chapter 4. Abroad, Julian's stock value skyrocketed. He grew into his features. The boyish charm mixed with a man's sharp edges. He was devastatingly handsome. I continued to serve him. That first year, he went wild. Breakfast in Seattle, dinner in Los Angeles, girlfriends on rotation. During Chinese New Year, a scandal broke. Julian's father had a mistress. She showed up at the main estate with a 13-year-old son and a team of lawyers. Catherine banned Julian from coming home to avoid the media storm. So, I stayed with him in New York. While we waited for the ball to drop in Times Square, he suddenly asked, "Scarlett, does anyone's heart stay unchanged?" I didn't hesitate. Yes. Julian laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. I think I'm over Amelia. I can barely remember her face. I thought I loved her, but maybe I just loved the rejection. He was just attracted to someone who told him no, that wasn't love. But if you asked me what love was, I couldn't tell you. Nobody ever taught us. The fireworks exploded outside the Penn